Welcome back to Digiburst, guys. Today I just wanted to do a little discussion video because I was inspired by Digidame. His most recent video, the one before, the one about the ban list, he did a little discussion about what it means to play to win or want to win in a game and having a different mindset. Because I think I can maybe add to the discussion and build up the argument just a little bit. Maybe add something that he might have missed in his video. So he goes on a big discussion about some of the common mistakes that players might make when playing a game, whether a fighting game or a card game. So they kind of self-sabotage themselves by limiting what they can do to a certain game because they feel like that's a kind of exploit within the game, despite the fact that the game developers specifically put that in the game to have that kind of design. And it's that sort of self-limitation that prevents the player from doing really well or maybe even growing as a player because they're not utilizing all the tools that they have available to them. It's that kind of moral high ground that they kind of establish onto themselves. That way they can sort of feel like they're, superior than their opponent because they're, because they're not using certain skills and strategies that are acknowledged, that they acknowledge to be kind of unfair to use.
Well, I didn't net deck, they're just abusing top tiers. At least I didn't sweat over the best options possible like they did. Sound familiar? Because I hear this all the time. And it's usually coming from people who, well, they're not really playing to win. They're playing to feel like they deserve to win.
Which is weird because to me, trading card games are inherently antagonistic because they pit players against each other. There's no kind of multiplayer co-op mode for Digimon at the moment. That's not the kind of format that Bandai is supporting right now. It'd be really cool to see if they could do that, but right now that's not the case. So really, you as a player are incentivized to take advantage of all of the strategies that you have available to yourself in order to win the game, because winning is the objective. There's no other case other than just winning or losing. You can draw, but that's besides the point. So if you aren't winning, then you're not, taking the objective of the game. So it's kind of silly to not take advantage of all the strategies that have available to yourself because then you probably won't be winning. You'll be taking those L's.
I'm dog shit. I just let you grab me 5 times in a row. Like, should I not go to the practice tool in said game and start practicing against guard breaking or whatever it's called, right? Like making sure that my opponent can never grab me again. Why would I instead make this self-prescribed rule of not only I'm not going to be grabbing my opponent to deal a big significant amount of damage to them, but they shouldn't do it to me. It's bullshit.
So Digigame's main point of the video is that if you want to be a better player, you need to get out of this self-sabotaging mindset and open yourself up to all the strategies available to you. This often means that you should be playing the meta decks, running the proven and winning strategies, and not restricting yourself from them.
Or, to take it back to Digimon, you've decided, I'm not going to play a meta deck like Omnimon, which is one of the more recent decks that is extremely strong, because that deck's just too strong. It just OTKs too quick, it's really hard to break through. I just think I wouldn't play a deck like that because it's cringe, and I'm not cringe.
So that brings me to this video. While I overall agree with these points, if you want to improve as a player, you should stop self-sabotaging yourself, and play good decks. Good decks makes good wins. But I want to add to that by saying that you should also play bad decks. Now before you flame me, I want you to know that this actually works for me. I spend a lot of time playing bad decks and exploring as much of the game available to me as possible. And this has resulted in me in doing actually pretty well in large tier tournaments. I won the last regionals I played in, and I've done top 16, top 8 in half a dozen other regionals and Ultimate Cups in my 5 years of playing Digimon. And that sort of exploration means that you should play good decks, you should play bad decks, you should play meta decks, you should play rogue decks, you should play all the kinds of colors, black, white, blue, green, purple, red, yellow, combo, stall and mishmash, solitaire decks. You should make yourself available to every single kind of strategy, including decks that aren't proven in the meta. And that will include bad decks. You should play bad decks. Now, to do this, you have to take a different kind of mindset to your regular playstyle. You're not playing to win per se, you're playing to learn. You are playing decks to gain an understanding of how they work and getting more exposure to all the cards available to you. This is part of having access to every single strategy that is available in the game. That kind of knowledge will expand you as a player. And you should be 100% doing this in any safe space of testing you can do. For me, that kind of safe testing space is any locals or pickup games that I have available to myself. Every single local that I go to, I try to play different decks in order to expand my knowledge and experience in as many different cards as possible. Thankfully, my local scene is very welcoming to that. Maybe your highest play is going to be at locals, in which case maybe that's not a safe testing space for you, but you have to pick your battles in that sense that you need to be able to test and expand and learn wide varieties of decks because it will grow you as a player. And then when you go to larger tier events, that's when you lock in, take your best deck. So in playing this wider variety of decks, especially these bad decks, it's going to build you as a player in 3 specific points that I really want to highlight here. Number 1 is that you're going to expose yourself to a wide variety of cards. You're going to have more knowledge base on all these different decks and strategies and individual card texts. You're going to understand how they work to a greater extent than what you would be if you just played against them. You will be able to predict what your opponent might be building up to, in which case you won't be caught off guard by a certain ace play or a certain interaction that you didn't see coming. Say on deletion effects that play out to a guy that triggers when the on play effect that allows you to play a second guy, and that trigger from the second guy will interrupt your play, so you want to be able to avoid that. And by avoiding that, well, you're going to have a better chance in countering it when you play against it. That will build you as a player. You'll get better exposure to rulings in certain cases, especially the really niche ones. I've been playing DM recently. DM has these ultimates that are failed ultimates that can reduce the cost of evoing up. I did because I've been exposing myself to DM, I've been forced to understand the rule interaction with them, especially that condition for evoing. It's not a condition, it's an effect, so that it doesn't cheapen itself when it evos into the nursery. And that kind of exposure will also build you as a player to gain a greater understanding of what makes a strategy good. And then when you're building decks on your own, trying to take like initiative and innovation into your own deck, you're going to be able to pick out the cards that really work really well that maybe haven't been exposed yet. Point number 2, bad decks or non-meta decks in general will maybe put yourself at a disadvantage to your opponent that is playing meta decks. That means you will be playing on a back foot typically, and that kind of self-antagonism, I guess, will force you to find new strategies and new ways to counter their decks, and will make you work harder as a player, making you more focused, making you more tuned in, and making you more aware of your place and your opponent's place. It's just like Rock Lee taking off the training weights.
Now I will be able to move freely!
Number 3, you'll also gain a better understanding of the meta environment. Exposing yourself to all of the decks, including meta decks, including rogue decks, you're going to gain an understanding of how all of these decks interact with each other. And then you can be able to use that to understand, well, what are the ratios of topping decks right now that are going into recent tournaments. And then you can sort of gain an understanding of, well, these decks counter these decks, and this deck has a high majority in the top tiers. Maybe I should play a deck that counter that majority so I can gain that stronger edge. And in playing that wider variety of decks, you're going to have a better knowledge in picking the correct deck to counter that, to give you more favorable matchups. This is what I did with Green Adventure. I picked that deck specifically because it had a really good matchup into Megidra and Guild Rush that was really popular in this meta. And was Adventure a high tier deck? Definitely not. It had maybe 1 or 2 tops in a high tier events before I picked it up, and I was able to, with the time and practicing it, I was able to get an understanding of how I can use it to counter Megidra and how I can specifically tailor my deck for that counter. That's how I was able to put in the puppet mons for that counter, as well as Ukumons to speed up the deck. These were innovations that weren't already seen in adventure decks, especially the previous winning deck, I think, in North America. Had I not been expanding my knowledge in like the wider variety available myself, I wouldn't have picked it, and I wouldn't be able to see its potential in doing well in this format. So essentially, you should be playing to learn instead of playing to win, and then that will help you win. So to wrap up the video, I 100% agree with Digidane's take.
Because if you're playing to win, you can criticize the game, but you have to be utilizing every single tool that it gives you. Because criticizing instead of adapting isn't the flex that you think it is. Meta awareness, matchup knowledge, optimization, these are all things that are part of the game. And denying yourself access to those tools on principle, that's not skill expression. That's your ego.
But to add to that, I would say that using every single strategy available to you also means playing such a wide variety of decks, including rogue, non-meta, and bad decks. You will learn new things, you'll grow as a player, and that will result in you winning more games. And like Digidane said, it also includes letting go of your ego and allowing yourself to play less proven decks than ones that are already in the meta. So that's my video. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed the discussion. If you did, give it a like and subscribe and all of those other things I want. Maybe you can comment below on everything that strategies that you use to build yourself as a player, and what bad decks have you been playing recently. Also go give Digidane a like and subscribe. Check out his video if you haven't already. He's holding the Digimon community in his back. I love the guy for it. And with that, I hope you pick up a new bad deck for your next locals. See you next time. Hey, Falcon.